Greater Houston is home to many world religions. These religions and their houses of worship demonstrate the wonderful mosaic of faith and culture that brighten the tapestry of our community. Interfaith Ministries for Greater Houston is proud to present this video series as a part of our mission to educate people and reduce stereotypes. This series is presented by the Interfaith Relations and Community Partnerships Department of Interfaith Ministries for Greater Houston. It is also a celebration of the Brigitte and Bashar Kalai Plaza of Respect, located at Interfaith Ministries' main campus in Midtown Houston. Let's take a closer look at the elements of our houses of worship and work towards a better understanding of our religions and culture. Sikhs are followers of Sikhism, a monotheistic religion that originated in the 15th century in the Indian subcontinent. Sikhism was founded by Guru Nanak, and its teachings are recorded in the Holy Scripture called the Guru Granth Sahib. Sikhs believe in one God and the equality of all humans. A Gurdwara is a place of worship for Sikhs. The word Gurdwara means door to the Guru. It serves as a central gathering place for the Sikh community and is where Sikhs come together to worship, sing hymns, and listen to the teachings of the Guru Granth Sahib. Gurdwaras are open to people of all faiths and backgrounds, and they often provide community services such as free meals to anyone, regardless of their religion or social standing. The principles of equality, humility, and community service are central to the Sikh faith, and these values are reflected in the functioning of Gurdwaras.
Tell us, who are you and where are we today?
Okay, so my name is Manpreet Kaur Singh, but my nickname here at this Gurdwara is Monica. We are at the Sikh Center of Gulf Coast area in Houston, Texas.
And tell us, what would a visitor expect when they entered the building if they wanted to visit the Gurdwara?
So this is a Gurdwara, and really our protocol for this Gurdwara or any Gurdwara worldwide is essentially the same, which is kind of beautiful, so you don't really have to relearn the rules. When you walk in, like most Eastern cultures, we take off our shoes, we cover our head, and we're very respectful of the space that we're in. So you'll see that immediately when you walk in.
And are the genders separated?
So this is a very interesting question. In Sikhism, our gender equality is very equal, and it's equal based, and it manifests itself in different ways within our religion. However, culturally, you'll see, especially in the United States, that we're segregated. You'll go to other more populous places of Sikhs, like UK, Canada, California even, India, and there's not a segregation of men and women.
Interesting. So I noticed when we walked in, even where we divided our shoes, our washing station, is that normal in all Gurdwaras then?
No, absolutely not. Sikhism in itself is very equal based. So you don't see that gender inequality at all.
And we've used the word Gurdwara. Am
Yes.
I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, you've done great.
Okay. So this is what we commonly know in terms of a church, a synagogue, a mosque. But this is the word that you use. And what does that word symbolize for you?
It's our place of worship. It's the house in which our Guru lives and the word of our Guru lives. And Guru is exactly what you think it means. It means teacher. And this is where we come to get our teachings and our guidance for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, and the rest of the month.
What can people expect in this space, the actual worship space, when they come and visit a Gurdwara?
So there's two spaces that you'll always see no matter where you go. One is where we house the Guru Granth Sahib, and as you see here, we treat the Guru Granth Sahib as you've seen and imagined kings were treated back in the 14 and 1500s, right? Our Guru Granth Sahib is our text, and that is our scripture that we get our guidance from and where we actually rely on for all of our spiritual guidance. And so it's elevated, and it's always adorned in the most beautiful clothing. And sometimes you'll even see people behind the Guru Granth Sahib, what we kind of as they revere a king. When we come in here, we will always bow before the Guru Granth Sahib, because we're saying we're accepting any knowledge you're giving us today to help guide us for the future of that. So in terms of the way the Guru Granth Sahib is handled, the way it is laid out, very consistent across other Gurdwaras. Second thing that you'll see that's consistent is what we call the Larder Haul, and that's downstairs, and I'm sure, I know you've been privy to the delicious goodness that comes from it, but it's meant to feed anybody in all walks of life and anybody who comes through here, and so we all sit equally on the floor. You could sit next to a millionaire next door or somebody who's really struggling to make it in life, just to symbolize our equality in how we eat the same, breathe the same, and do everything the same. And so you'll also see that in every Gurdwara in some sort of service.
And we're sitting on the floor. This is normal?
This is it. So kind of makes it easy to furnish, huh? Yes. Yeah, so we always sit on the floor. Our entire services require us to sit on the floor. Again, that symbolism of equality, that's what I was talking about. Even when we talk about gender equality, we also have caste and class equality. And so it's kind of another reminder that we're all the same.
Wonderful. Now tell us a bit about what to expect in the actual service itself. Is there an order of service that you can expect? Is there singing? Is there praying? Kind of walk us through what that would be like.
So I love this question because it's so different, and it was very shocking for me when I went to church, because I was like, oh wait, y'all are talking. And then there's singing breaks, and then they talk again. So for us, it's mainly all singing. So the Sri Guru Granth Sahib has 1,430 pages, and they're all written in a exact scale, a musical scale. And it's to invoke a certain feeling when you sing those hymns. And so those are the same hymns that we sing during our entire service. So the bulk of our service is like 90% singing. 5% of it will be like an explanation or interjection of somebody explaining what they've just saying. And then the other 5% is community announcements and what's happening and the goings on of our area, and not only that, but our community itself.
So what are your elements of your worship service? Is there a specific name for your prayers, the music? Can people expect to participate in the music? Are people dancing? You know, in some worship services, it's part of the worship service. They're expected to move and raise their hands. What is that like? What's the movement like in the
So that's,
service?
I think, another thing too. You know, I was born and raised here in Houston, Texas, but my cultural roots are Eastern. So it's funny because you come here, and especially when we bring our Western friends here and they want to clap or they want to do something, it's an expression, right? We don't do any of those things. So for us, when we worship, one of the elements of our worship is that we are within our own community, which we call Sangat. And that Sangat is here to worship together. So the more we sing together and we follow along with everything together is how we eternalize and internalize what's happening, right? And so as a result of that, we don't clap, we don't dance, we sit on the floor and we literally sing and kind of get lost in the word itself.
Now, there also was a little bit of a delightful surprise just a minute ago. A bowl was passed around with this very yummy,
Yes.
Okay, so tell us what that was, and does that happen all the time?
It does. See, you guys want to come here, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, it's called Prashad. And those are I was telling you earlier, and I think it's like the best thing ever. It's equal parts, and you shouldn't want to know this, but it's equal parts butter, sugar, and flour. And we make it in a very, very spiritual manner, like when we're doing it downstairs, but we serve it here after the Guru Granth Sahib has been read. And it signifies that we're accepting what we're hearing and we're going to apply it to our life and our day and our everything else. So traditionally for each individual Sikh, we read the Guru Granth Sahib in the morning to reflect and set our intention for the day. And then we read it in the evening to reflect on what we've done and where we want to go next.
So if someone were visiting and they didn't know what it was, or maybe they have an allergy, would it be insulting if they refused it? How would they go about?
No, I don't think it's insulting if they refuse it. I think one thing that I've noticed a lot about, again, the differences between Eastern and Western culture is sometimes people are afraid of the unknown, right? Whether it be us in the physical form or in a form of eating food. So people are always hesitant, and I think because we're in this community, we understand that that's something that Westerners bring into the cautiousness of, I'm not sure I want that.
And we're wearing head coverings. What are the expectations for that?
So again, men and women are 100% equal. So men are wearing turbans and we wear our head coverings. So anytime we're in the presence of the Guru Granth Sahib, we cover our head. And so that's the rule.
And at this Gurdwara, you have head coverings for visitors?
Yep.
And is that common at all?
It is. It's common for all of them. So they're always provided and ready for you to be able to come and visit us.
And then what about the worship leaders? Is there anything specific about what they wear or any adornments that they have that tell visitors or the congregation that this is the role they play in the worship service?
So generally they'll wear white kurtas, which is the traditional outfits that the men wear, generally. But it's not like something you'll know for sure everywhere, and they like to coordinate. And people always ask me this, they say, well, what about turbans? Is there significance in the colors of what turban color people wear? We just like to match.
So just to clarify, so the colors that we see adorning, the altar, for lack of a better term, as a Westerner, or what we see them wearing, you wearing, that has no religious significance. It doesn't tell us this is a particular time of year.
No.
Or a particular celebration.
We love color.
Okay.
Like, I love it. And so that's just a part of the state that we're from in India. It's a very colorful, vibrant state, vibrant culture, and it translates into our worship as well.
Okay, so I would like for you to say the name of your holy book slowly so that we can hear it, and then tell us what is the significance of it.
Okay, we call it Sri Guru Granth Sahib. And the reason, Guru, as you know, and these are, it's like all the words that are around it are more respect words, like Sri. Guru is your ultimate teacher. Granth, again, ultimate teacher. Sahib is like respect, what we say. So the Guru Granth Sahib is a compilation of people who attained God and became one with God. So not only is it our gurus that we believe in, but it's also other saints, like from the Hindu tradition or the Muslim tradition, that had attained God, and it's written in a poetic form. So what you hear in there is very poetic and talks about their experience about how they attained God and how it felt, how they have no, angst or sadness or anything else.
What would a visitor expect to participate in? We talked about, the yummy dough that you get at the end, but sometimes in certain houses of worship, people are expected to stand, sit up, stand, sit, stand, sit. There's an offering plate that's distributed. There's a time that's called kind of the passing of the peace, where everybody kind of goes around and introduces themselves. Are those any common elements, or are there other things that people might expect?
So as you can see, as people come and bow before the Guru Granth Sahib, there's an offering that they do privately there. And that usually helps the Gurdwara run itself. And then there's also an offering in front of the people who are singing for them to have it as well. That's something that it's quietly done as people come in. As you're listening and worshiping, you sit and listen and worship, and it's quiet. And then at the end, when we go downstairs for longer, is usually when all the interaction occurs, where everybody's talking and interacting with one another and finding out what your story is.
I know there are rules about the position of your body according to the altar.
Yeah, and so we never put our back towards the Guru Granth Sahib. It's a show of respect. And the way I kind of explain it to kids is like, if you saw somebody that was super amazing, famous, whatever, you wouldn't disrespect them by putting your back towards them. So the same things, we don't like stick our feet in front of the Guru Granth Sahib. Everything you would do to respect, to show your ultimate respect to somebody, is how we treat the Guru Granth Sahib.
All right, are there any questions that I didn't ask to finish this out?
Oh, I would love for people to be able to understand that the fear of the unknown is actually a known. You can come in and introduce yourself to our community, and our community is welcoming and open, and honestly, this is your invitation for any time. You don't ever have to come for a special occasion. We're ready and happy to receive anybody.
Well, thank you so much for this time and your beautiful space of worship and this beautiful religion. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for Interfaith Ministries for always making sure that Sikhism is showcased.